Hello, my name is Finn Patrick Burke.
And I'm Dr. Martin Wiele. We welcome you to join us in this online course on how to put together a convincing and appealing PowerPoint presentation. There are many ways to present your research, and they are not restricted to the very common PowerPoint software. We therefore encourage you all to test and use other formats and applications as well, some of which are freeware and/or open access, while others must be paid for, but have extended means of visualization to put together a very convincing presentation. The learning outcomes of this course are to structure your presentation logically and to digest and transmit the information as freely and conveniently as possible for the audience. The audience might be made up of researchers from your field, but may also include outside academics and researchers that you intend to convince of your topic, approaches, methodologies, etc. You will see 3 example presentations that gradually improve in terms of content and their respective presentation styles, alongside evaluations that highlight mistakes and suggest improvements. By the end of this course, you will be able to detect the most common mistakes during presentations and will be ready to avoid those mistakes from the very start. Finn and I use a topic that should be understandable to researchers and practitioners alike and has its relevance in terms of current global dynamics. The example presentation deals with indigenous fruit trees in the global south and their relevance, for instance, for conservationists, agrobiodiversity researchers, and rural development agencies. Then, let us start the first session. Welcome, Finn. The floor is yours.
Hello. Today, I will present to you the topic Income Generation Through Indigenous Fruit Trees in the Global South. Overview. What are indigenous fruit trees and where can they be found? Indigenous fruit trees are trees that are native to a particular region, are usually abundantly available in their natural environments, and produce edible fruits. Their richness is extraordinarily high and exceeds the number of species we routinely consume in our diets. Indigenous fruit trees grow in all types of environments, but their richness is particularly concentrated in tropical and subtropical regions and in areas less affected by anthropogenic activities such as urban encroachments and agriculture. Apart from their fruit, indigenous fruit trees also offer other ecosystem services such as medicines, resins, shade, and forage, and are thus considered multi-purpose species. How do people use them? And what is their contribution to local economies? Indigenous fruit trees have long been used and are collected from the wild by local communities and may form part of their diet. Their importance is greatest in famine periods, which may occur during wars, economic crises, or natural disasters such as droughts when annual crops have failed. Most importantly, fruits of such species are mainly collected and/or consumed by women and kids. They thus play a very prominent role in the food and nutritional security for a particular group of people that are often deficient in these items. In addition, indigenous fruits, sometimes in the form of value-added products, are sold on local markets and thus generate income for poor people. Rural development agencies, researchers, and conservationists from all over the world have thus put emphasis on these species as they contribute to the uplift of livelihoods and local economies. The trade of indigenous fruits at international markets is limited. So some examples. Only baobab is a species that reached the international market. Conclusions. Indigenous fruit trees are an important additional source of food, but are endangered by over-exploitation. Potential for income generation, limited international market potential. They are target species in projects of development aid organizations.
Thank you very much, Finn, for your presentation. Now, what did you see? How was the layout? What did you understand from the slides? And where did you get stuck? You certainly have comments and questions regarding layout and content. I will briefly summarize the well done and less well done part of the presentation. Overall, the presenter provided a good overview of indigenous fruit trees, their distribution and use, and briefly explained their importance. The audience could thus gain a good glimpse of the topic. There were, however, some formal mistakes that are often seen in presentations such as this. First and foremost, the presenter should make sure to choose the correct position. For example, it seems that the presenter is left-handed. This implies that they should stand on the other side of the screen so as to open their body to the audience, rather than turn away from them. Regarding slide structure, a very common mistake is the absence of slide numbers. They are very important, for instance, during discussions with the audience in which one likes to refer to an individual slide. Secondly, the layout was inconsistent. The presenter used different bullet points along with different font sizes and styles. Thirdly, it's worth pointing out that the text displayed was quite large. Remember that a slide assistant presentation should be used only as a tool for additional visualization and is never the imparting medium itself. It is you who presents the topic and intends to ultimately convince a group of people. To reduce the text, simply apply the 6x6 rule. 6x6 means 6 bullet points by 6 words, which will help to remove unnecessary text from your slides. Fourthly, there were some grammatical mistakes in the presentation that in future need to be avoided, as the audience may stumble over these and stop following the presentation for a while. Furthermore, try to make your slides in general a bit more visually appealing than what we have just seen by adding background colors, frames, etc. I should also mention that the example slide was not informative enough, since only one example was shown and 1 or 2 more species would have been worth including. There was also a lot of white, unused space on certain slides. In addition, the presenter's concluding slide introduced a point that had not been explained previously. Endangered by overexploitation must be contextualized and its effect briefly evaluated. Lastly, it is advisable to use transition sentences between slides. Try to tell a story and do not stick too much to the written parts of your slides.